Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. I'm Kelly Brickle, and we are talking about all things psychic, mediumship, intuition, spirituality. That's what the show is about. And we have the interview show today, and we have psychic medium and animal communicator Natalie Lucia on today. And so we're going to be diving into her experiences and how she came on her journey, and just if you have a question along the way, pop it down and we'll talk about it. This is the beauty of the show. You get to talk and interact if there's something that reminds you about your own life with how you are responding to the changes of your soul growth in a similar or different way. So hello to everyone coming in, Sharon, Lee, Aspen, and yeah, hey, thanks for catching me live, Aspen. I appreciate it. It's great to see you. So the topic of the day is about committing to decisions. We always have a topic of the day, and sometimes it's very, philosophical, and usually it's always philosophical, but, sometimes it's more just like life, hands-on life stuff, and sometimes it's more just development. How does our development look? So you can apply it to however you like, but committing to decisions. And I feel like it's so important because within this work, we deal a lot with the subconscious. Within our spiritual awakenings, it's really where we're bridging the subconscious to the conscious. Maybe you've been living life and you've had like these stirrings, or you've had, thoughts and dreams, and you're like, is this real? Or, I've always wanted to do this. Dreams of maybe you want a different career, or maybe you're looking to have a different relationship, or maybe you just know things, but you always kind of like put it off. You're like, nah, maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. And it's about like trusting yourself and understanding kind of what's the dream world and what's the reality. And our subconscious stirrings and longings at a certain point, they come and they hit us right smack in the face, and they go, what do you want to do about it within real life? And so that's very classic within mediumship, because a lot of mediums and psychics and healers, they've had so many experiences, usually not always, before they're like, okay, I'll take this, seriously, or okay, I can't ignore this any longer. And, there was all this rich inner, let's say, feeling or experience within them that they just couldn't deny. So it's about committing to the decisions of when we can no longer ignore things and what we're going to do about it. And, we're human. It's not just like, okay, I have a realization. Now I'm making a 180, change to my life. That does happen. Great. Like, pat yourself on the back if you can do that. But usually it's like, an unfoldment of, okay, well, I have this knowledge now. What do I do with it? And I really think that there comes a time within all of our lives where we become 100% committed to the decision. So could be 10% at first, could be 80%, but that 100% commitment is no, I can't see it any other way, right? Like someone could be like very charismatic or manipulative, and you don't, trust them. And at first you're just like, you have like something in the pit of your stomach. You're like, there's something that doesn't sit right, but I trust them. So like, 80% of it doesn't seem right, but there comes a point where you just smack dab hit over the head and you're like, no, 100%, I cannot trust this person. There reaches a point for you. Or, within your career, like maybe you 80% love your job. That seems good enough in a lot of, you know, considerations. 80% you love your job, even 90% you love your job. That's actually, it doesn't sound always so bad on paper. It doesn't sound always so bad in our head, like, oh, I 90%, like, I just love and adore this person, and, making excuses and so many different ways to look at life, right? But there comes a time where you're just like, 100%, I can't be in this job anymore. I need this. Maybe I like some of the stuff in it, but I need this. And when you have that commitment where your soul can't go back anymore, that's when the change really starts to happen. And you're kind of like tested, and when you're 100%, because when you're tested, you're like, I'm this person now. Or, yeah, might be nice, but sorry, no, boundary non-negotiable. So we know when we reach certain points, and you could be in your journey, we're all in our journey, like 1% in this category, 10% in that category. Like, think about it, like, where are you on your health journey? Where are you in your relationship journey? Where are you in your friends and friendship and family journey? Okay, like, we're all going through stuff where we're willing to put up with things, or we're kind of just comprehending and still understanding things. My throat wants to make noises. There we go. That's always fun when your throat gets all raspy when you're talking. So with family and friends, there's certain things where, or any category within our life where we're still coming to grips with things, like on a spiritual, mental, emotional level. And we are always going to be in flux. We're never going to be 100%, like, when we tap into our higher self, we can access some of those certainties, but we're here to learn, we're here to grow, be gentle on yourself. Like, you're exactly on time with your lessons. If you were ready to do otherwise, you would have done otherwise already. So that's kind of my model. Don't, don't fight the unfoldment, let it happen, and don't beat yourself up for, the choices you make along the way, because we're all doing the best we can. And kind of like a lighter vein on it. So, like, within our mediumship, there comes a time, or psychic development, or being a healer, right? There comes a time where that question goes, how committed am I to developing? Because it really takes a load on the psyche to do this work. We have to go so much into our own self. We have to look at ourselves. It takes time. It takes consideration. We have to learn about our own metaphors and our own processing, so we can understand that when we look at someone else, and to separate what's ours and what's not ours. That in itself, it takes a bit of time. It really does. You could just be naturally brilliant at this work, and some people are, and I'm just like, that is amazing. And throughout the journey, there will always be pauses and changes where we're forced to look at our psyche. It might be, 7 years into your journey as a medium. It might be your first year into your journey as a medium. Everyone's so different. And so with that commitment, sometimes we find ourselves, and again, we're all human, and it's like very natural and very normal, like, I've gone through it where I go, hey, like, I need to take a pause. Like, I need to take a pause because I need to focus on myself. I feel like my energy needs to look upon myself rather than another person, right? Or, hey, I need to grow and really be committed to this. How much of my life can I devote to this? How much do I want to shift completely of my life to this? And you have to consider friends and family, relationships, right? Your schedule. It's like, how much of, the esoteric do you want to make real? How much of, at first, maybe what's kind of out there, do you want to actually actualize in all of your life? And we come to a point where we know. And when we don't know, it's okay. Just like in your head, if it's important to you, in your heart, if it's important to you, make sure you visit it every once in a while. Okay. Um, there's a saying that I have. I think I felt it on the last show, but it's been kind of sticking with me. Just kind of came out of nowhere, but it's like, give your life space, don't escape, right? So give it space and just honor it and return to it if it's really important to you. And that's commitment. That's commitment to yourself, your soul, your spirit. If something's really important to you, really in your heart, you are committed to it. You are giving it this sacred consideration, and anything beautiful within our life. And our soul is so beautiful, and how we consider ourselves are so beautiful. There is a touch of that sacred attention and understanding and consideration. And so I just offer that to you with however you are committed to your decisions and however you are committed to understanding your soul. It's worth it to look at it. It's worth it to be seen and experienced. So please do give your soul a hello. With that said, we will be back with Natalie, and we will be talking to her about everything psychic, mediumship, intuition, spirituality. See you in a few.
Want to see your video here? Sponsor WLTK-DB Talk Radio and watch us make that happen. With your paid sponsorship of $80, you receive a professional produced audio, video, and banner placement on our station. Not only does your sponsorship air during our live shows, but also replayed on our podcast and heard by hundreds of like-minded people. Visit WLTK-DB.com to get started and find out just how hard we work to get you noticed.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back, just like that. So let's bring Natalie Lucia in. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great.
Welcome, welcome. I want to introduce you to everyone. So Natalie Lucia is a certified psychic medium and animal communicator residing in Suffern, New York, and is certified through the Lisa Williams International School of Spiritual Development. Natalie enjoys her time with family, including her lovable dogs and cats. She believes that anyone can tune into the spirit world through life experiences, loss, tragedy, and miracles. She could no longer deny this within herself with what she was experiencing. Spirituality and mediumship is an honor and vocation to Natalie, and her goal is to help those experiencing grief and loss to find happiness and laughter again. Her purpose is to give the gift of knowing that there is so much more to life than just living. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate the excitement. I appreciate the enthusiasm. Absolutely. I mean, you've been in this work for a while, and it's a pleasure to meet you through this platform. I've seen you active in demonstrations, and, giving back and a part of fundraisers, and just your animal communication courses. So you've been quite busy and quite passionate about, putting this out, your heart, your work out.
Absolutely. It means the world to me. It really does. It's all the healing that we could give out, we actually receive back. So I feel better each time I do it.
Yeah, I can understand that. How do you feel like your life has changed since you've given so much? What have you been given back?
I've been given back numerous chances of forgiveness, which was very, very difficult for me. So throughout life, I used to joke around and tell people I am a master at anger. I could teach it, I could live it, I could show you it, I could go through it. I'm really great at it. Thinking that that made me stronger. That gets me through things. And through this experience, like working through other people's grief and helping people heal and helping people connect with their animals and like just so many different things, I realized that anger isn't the calling. It's actually understanding and forgiveness. And that was really, it still is every day, very, very, very difficult for me. But it really is a beautiful lesson to learn.
Absolutely. It's powerful. What is forgiveness to you at this point then?
Forgiveness to me is not reliving any trauma, and it's not letting someone get away with whatever you feel they did to you. Forgiveness is looking through another person's eyes or another person's experience and understanding the fact that they may have received or delivered things in a different manner. So being okay with it not being all about me and allowing to let go that it's more about them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I may ask you full circle too, what is your new understanding with anger?
Oh, anger is fear. That's what it is. It's fear. So when you hold on to anger, you're fearful of something, and you really have to say, wait a minute, what am I trying to avoid? What am I frightened of facing? And I tell my students, I tell my friends, I tell my family, fear can be face everything and run or face everything and receive. So it's your choice, so what are you going to do? And I've decided to start receiving, the lessons, the messages, whatever it is through that point that I need to learn and I need to evolve with, which was not easy.
It's a lot. It's a lot within this work too. Did you find that there was like fear going into being a medium or putting yourself out there, or was that like different? Was that way easier than encountering other types of fears in your life?
No, that was very difficult. It was extremely difficult because, it runs in my family. It's, it's definitely in our DNA, let's say. And, but I'm the only one who was outspoken with it and wanted to actually develop and learn and not hide it and tuck it away and push it down. And it was also difficult because my mom's side of the family has the connection and my dad's a doctor. So he's very scientific. So it's very much black and white. And it took him quite a while. Now he's extremely supportive, but it took him quite a while to really come to terms and say, wait a minute, maybe this is something that is real and really understand it. And now he's extremely supportive, but it was so scary. All of my fears of being judged and criticized and being called a fake and not being good enough and hurting someone or putting them in danger, not intentionally, or helping a missing animal and not being able to find them. There's so many parts to it that it's extremely painful.
Yes, yes. When you really take it seriously and go, what am I to another person and how will they receive me? I think that is very fair to think about and very fair to feel and process.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You said that your father is very supportive and he came from a very scientific background, being a doctor. So, if I may ask, what were some of the realizations for him?
I think the biggest realization for him was I started off by becoming a Reiki master. So that's where my mediumship really opened up and I couldn't deny it anymore. My father is our culture is Portuguese, so we have family in Portugal. My father went to take care of his brother who was dying, and all the nurses there are Reiki practitioners. And my father, through the experience of my uncle transitioning and through seeing what these nurses did, and then private experiences that he had that I received in readings, the evidence, he couldn't deny it, and I think that was his. And then, of course, he starts reading. Once he reads and he reads other people's stories and other people's experiences, then he's like, wait a minute. So I think it was through his healing, through his grief, through his experience that allowed him to open up.
Absolutely. That's amazing he did open up. Like he was open-minded enough to actually go, "Wait a second. This isn't just what my thoughts are about."
Mhm. And I think that now it has given him so much more of a different hope and a different understanding. Because my dad's going to be 93 in August. I'm blessed to have both my parents, absolutely blessed.
Wow.
And it's just like, now it's like he's like a sponge. Now it's like, okay, well, what else should I read? Or did you hear about this interview? And did you see this? And did you know this? And like, now it's just opened a whole new world for him, in the last decade plus of learning about this.
Wow, that's so cool that you have family members that are that curious and, you can have conversations with them that are so up to date, right, with what's going on. Wow. So, have your family members then been curious to have a reading from someone else, maybe, right? Of course, but have they ever like experienced it, right, with this open-mindedness rather than just kind of read and talk about it?
Yeah. So my mom and I have gone to readings together, like galleries, events, demonstrations, things like that, so she can see it. We've done that together. My brother is very private, so he's more like, keep your stuff over there, because he believes, but he's like, just keep it over there, so he gets a little nervous. And unfortunately, my sister does not believe, but that's on her. Like, I never push anything on anyone. It's everyone's opinions or point of views, that's theirs, so I never push it. But I have had family members say, well, how do you feel about this one? Or can you find me somebody to read me? And it's always been, where I always tell them, go with an open heart. Don't go in there with expectations of what you see on TV. Go in there just open and ready to receive. And I have to say that my family members really do. I think they see how I am and how passionate I am, and how much it means to me. So they do go into readings and experiences like that, with an open heart, mind, and soul.
That's the best advice you can give anyone. Yeah. Honestly, you can prepare, but just it's a heart thing. It really is.
It really is.
That's incredible. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I agree, and sometimes it's difficult. Like, I tell people, sometimes they're like, oh, I've been trying to get a reading with you for a while and I can't. And I say, it might be because you're just not ready, because it is a heart thing. And sometimes our heart just isn't open enough and ready, and it's really important to honor that part of you, to honor that piece that, make sure that your heart ready and not mind ready, because our brain plays tricks on us all the time. Our brain's great at that.
Absolutely. I'm always getting my brain straight. That's for sure. But you're right. It's a real thing. It's something that can't be thought. And it just reminds me, even if I'm going through my emails, all of a sudden, I'll see something come in and I'll feel like the heart connection to the client, and I'll go, oh, okay, this is going to be a good reading, right? Or, oh, okay, all right, I got to like kind of really prepare my space for this one. And it's just like, you just honor the energy, and you never know exactly why that is. Well, sometimes you do, but right, it's so just feeling based and experiential, and sometimes people are at very different points with how they understand a reading, or how they're processing things.
Absolutely. Especially the processing. I always tell them, please don't hesitate to tell me no. If you don't understand I'm sharing, tell me no. It's okay. I'm okay with that. Don't be nice to me, and they'll be like, but I don't understand this piece of evidence. I'm like, hold it in your back pocket, and then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that information. And it's like, it's okay. You weren't ready to receive it at that point. That's why I say, hold it in your back pocket. It's okay not to know at that moment. When your heart's ready, you'll know.
Absolutely. And there's so much healing work going on that just their energy is doing so much stuff while they're in that space. And that's why I think that's classic, the reasons for psychic amnesia. They're overwhelmed on a certain level, or there's changes going on a certain level. And I really do think they are aware to some degree of the spirit world. So, it makes their consciousness go a little haywire.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm putting it out there. If you ever read for me psychically, I'm the worst sitter, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't like, I have complete psychic amnesia and I feel terrible. And then afterwards, I'm like, how did I forget all that? Like how, and spot on, like, you're right. But I get so overwhelmed that I forget my own stuff because it is very overwhelming as a sitter, as the receiver of the reading.
It is. It is. For so many different reasons. I think sometimes you can feel when someone feels like all eyes are on them too.
Mhm.
You're just
Mhm.
like, relax.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Relax. Takes time.
It does. It does. Breathe, breathe.
Yeah, breathe. Exactly. You mentioned being excuse me, you mentioned like Reiki. So, what are your experiences with Reiki? Because I have to learn more about your Reiki journey.
So the funniest thing is that like I was sitting in the meditation circle and there's this pamphlet going around saying, hey, we're teaching Reiki this weekend. If you're interested, sign up for the class. And I was like, oh, I have no idea what that is. Sounds great. Let me sign up. Had no idea that this would open like a portal to a whole new world for me. I had never heard of it before. I didn't know anything about any kind of healing modalities or anything like that. And I have to say that I will never forget my first experience giving and receiving Reiki because it was one of those things that was just like, whoa, what is happening? And it's something you can't lie about because you can't make it up. Like you just can't make it up. And it really is, I feel personally that mediums, it's very important for us to go into healing as well, not only for our clients, but for ourselves also, because
Yeah.
energy gets stuck. And it's such a blessing for me to be able to just say, okay, let me take my time and let me self heal. Let me move that stuff out because you know what? I had 4 readings today, and today I had a heart attack, and I committed suicide, and I had cancer, and I was murdered, and like you have to get that stuff out. But even just everyday life, I feel like Reiki is or any kind of energy healing. It's just such a beautiful thing to be able to do that not enough of us are aware of or experienced in.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I mean, there's energies present that are more than what we could ever imagine. Like maybe we're great at self-care and self-healing, but when we come into contact with something so much greater than our own consciousness, there's these things that come about and we're like, like I needed that. I could have never done that by
Mhm.
myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it is extraordinary. How did then your psychic and mediumship and animal communication awareness develop through like having the energetic experiences of Reiki?
I would be performing Reiki on clients and I would be getting messages. And I'll never forget this because one of the most difficult readings that I ever have to give, or I shouldn't say have to give, but am given the ability to give, is a loss of a child, a parent with a loss of a child. I mean, that's just something that is just inexplainable. There's no words for it. And one of my clients that I was working on, she had lost a child. And I was just doing my thing with Reiki and I kept hearing this name over and over again, kept hearing it. And after the 3rd session with her, where we became more personal with each other, I asked her, do you understand this name? And she started hysterical crying. That was her child's name. And it was just like, for me, it was extremely overwhelming because I felt like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And for her, it was extremely peaceful because she was like, I couldn't have known her daughter's first name. I couldn't have known this, And that was one of the most wide awakening moments because I realized, yes, loss of a child is so tragic, but it's not really a forever loss because they're still around.
Absolutely.
And she
Absolutely.
changed from that moment. Like not that she was 100% better, but you could just see such a huge shift in that small moment of me asking her who this person was.
Profound. It's profound. And you were able to access that so naturally by
Mhm.
doing a Reiki session. So I would imagine you started to understand very quickly, like I'm a medium through just being a healer. It's developing very quickly this
Which was very scary.
direction.
I was like, whoa, what just happened? Like, where do I go from here? And that's where the animals came in, because I've always known there was something there for me. I didn't understand mediumship to the point that I always thought that you had to be special to become a medium or a psychic. You were like chosen, which isn't true, because I'm not special, but I have this tremendous adore, like animals are my life. Like I just love animals. And when I realized that Reiki can help animals, that's where the door opened for them, because then it was learning to heal animals, and then it was animal communication, and then it was just developing more and more and more with all 3 points, psychic, mediumship, and animal communication. So it's amazing how sitting in a meditation circle just to get a break from the real world for every other week for an hour opened up this door to a life that I could have never imagined.
Yeah, I believe it though. If I may ask, so what do you feel like some of the biggest differences are when you're doing an animal soul connection versus a human soul connection?
Oh, there's a big difference. Animals have unconditional love, and we don't have any kind of conflict usually with animals. And they are straightforward, and they understand when they're physically here, they understand the spirit world. They understand transitioning. They understand what's going on. So they know already what, they're connected to Mother Nature and all of our loved ones in the spirit world. They're connected. When it comes to people, there's anger, there's fear, there's arguing, there's conflict. There's so much going on. There's regret, there's sorrow, there's sadness. So connecting with people on the other side, not that they're carrying those emotions with them, but in order for us to understand who they were when they were here in the physical world, we have to connect with those experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's the biggest difference between the two, where an animal comes in, it's like, hey, what's up? And a human's like, oof, let me just show you my pain points first so you know it's really me.
Oh, yeah. Very well said. Yes. Very well said. Yeah. I would imagine like a cat or a dog doesn't come in and say like, what the heck? Why'd you move my water bowl one time in 2017?
Exactly. Remember that time where you changed my food?
They come in like that. Let me tell you something.
Which cats, I have to say, I always laugh at reading cats, because cats are also like cats and dogs. I read all animals, but cats and dogs are very different, just like they are here in the physical world. Cats have no filter. Like they don't care at all, and they don't stop. Sometimes I have to be like, okay, reading's over. You have to stop. It's time for you to go with your loved one. Like, leave me be now, And cats are like, wait, one more thing, like, let me just tell you this. And I heard this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you got to stop. Where dogs are like, okay, bye. It's so funny.
I would have never expected that. Oh my, that makes sense though. That's hilarious. Wow. So cats have no filter. So what else do they not filter?
They don't filter anything. Like dogs will, like, what we don't realize is that like we can have phone conversations on the phone, and the dog will be in the room. And they don't realize that when we're having conversations, what I explain to people is we're like giving off light, and that they could feel those emotions and see what's happening. So the dog can relay the information saying on the phone, like I'll see a phone, I'll see a name, and I'll say like, I'll see the word gossip. And I'm like, oh my gosh, were you gossiping on the phone with your like sister today? And they're like, how did you know? I'm like, your dog is telling me. Like, there's no secrets, like they're like, oh my God, and not that the dog understands what gossip is. It's just the relaying of what they're receiving while we're doing this.
That
So it's
makes
a little
sense.
different.
So, wow. Okay. So the cats will just serve it up. They'll just serve it up. And
Yeah,
they just like,
really
this
don't.
is what's going on.
They
This is
don't
what's
care.
going on.
Yeah. They're like, I have an ache in my left side. Can you please tell it to call the vet? Not that one, but the other one, because I don't like that one, because that one talks too much. Like they don't care. They really don't care.
Do you find that animals have that unconditional love towards each other? Or is it more so like a special relationship with humans?
That's a great question. I think that animals have a different relationship with one another because they come here, I feel, in order to pursue the lessons that need to be learned from us. So their relationship with one another is more of a support system, where for us, it's more of a guidance of teachings and things like that. So it's just a different experience for them, so there is a different relationship animal to animal than there is animal to human.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Absolutely. With like horses or even fish or mice, I'm thinking about everything. Even like insects. Have you had some unique experiences or do you find that they're quite similar? Or how different or similar is it? I don't know how to ask
No,
it.
I love the way you're asking. No, it's great. It's great. What I find is one of my daughter, my oldest one, when she was graduating high school, her gift, her friend group had asked for a group reading as a gift. And I'll never forget this because I said to one of her friends, "You had a fish?" And for me, I'm like, why is this fish communicating? Like, what is a fish going to say? It was just terrible to think, but that's what went through my head. And then the fish had shown me her sadness in his passing and her holding grief, blaming herself for his passing. And I'm sharing this information with her and she's hysterical crying because that was exactly what happened. That she felt guilty because she had moved from one place to the other. And when she had moved him, he had passed through the transition. So fish communicate the same way. It doesn't matter what the animal is or what species it is. What I do find though with wild animals is I find that they have more philosophy behind what we need to learn and what we need to know. So I will try and connect with the wild species and certain things and say, what do you need from us as humans to make the world a better place or to make your environment better or to help you and guide you? What can we do different? And they're very kind and extremely, this is the biggest thing is that for some reason, we as humans minimize animals' intelligence. And they are
which is crazy.
Insane because I cannot even begin to explain how much we can learn from them. It's a wealth. My first wild animal was a chimpanzee. I had an event in my home. This woman was sitting there and I said, I'm going to make up the name because I don't remember who's Karen. I'm stuck right now because I feel like it's a woman, but it's not a woman. And I'm not understanding this. And here I'm thinking it's somebody that transitioned maybe or something like that. And she's like, no, we were rescuers of chimpanzees. That was one of our babies that we had rescued. And I was just like, wow. And here she came through with this reading of her life experience and her gratitude for being saved. Who would have known?
Yeah, no, who would have known? Who would have known exactly? And I love that story. The last question I want to ask too is what are your experiences with like spiders or bugs or I feel like it's such a misunderstood, part of the Animalia kingdom. I really try my best to understand them.
It really is a misunderstood because it really is a symbiotic relationship. And just because we may not understand the relationship doesn't mean that we should take away from it.
Right.
That's really how I feel, and my kids laugh at me because one day I'm like laying in bed and the spider comes down from the ceiling on a web. It just stops. And my kids are like, we're out, like they're out of the room. It took off. I'm like, really? I'm like, it's this big, And I just sat there for a minute and I just like thought to myself, like, what's happening here? Like, well, what are you here for? And it wasn't here for anything. It was just kind of like a hello, like a thank you. So sometimes their presence doesn't have to be because it's a lesson or they want to share something or they want to show something. Sometimes it's just like, hey, thank you for noticing me. Thank you for seeing me, And it's just, we owe insects so much because we don't see what they do. We don't see how they help.
Yeah. It's giving me like the kind of feeling of like thank you for surrendering and not trying to control me being here.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of leading me into the whole surrendering feeling. I can understand that. What are some of the greatest, I guess, lessons that you have learned with surrendering?
Surrender was impossible for me. Not impossible, but it was so difficult because I really believed that I had to control everything. And the biggest lesson for me with surrender was that once you do let go, the outcome to get to that end result of where you want to go is so much easier. And it's like, why do we have to fight everything? So if you just let it be, sit with the pain, sit with the fear, sit with the excitement, sit with the gratitude, sit with the happiness, just sit with it and just allow and be present. Your next steps are right there unfolding in a manner that they need to. If you don't do that, you're going to get to the same end zone. It's just going to be more difficult and take more time. And time is one thing that can be taken away from you that you will never get back.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we wait so long. Do you ever feel like you're not sure about your boundaries with surrendering?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I don't know if you ever read The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh my gosh, you have to read it. It's the same author as
I
The
will.
Untethered Soul. So it's the same author as The Untethered Soul. And it's so funny because his whole book is about surrendering. And this is, it's where like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't surrender. Like, how could that's insane. You can't surrender this. Like, what if, oh my God, absolutely. And you have to read this book because in the book, while I'm reading it, I'm yelling at him going, are you out of your mind? Are you really going to surrender the situation? Like, no, like I'm yelling at this man that I don't know reading this book, So sometimes, yes, sometimes I find myself saying, this is really stupid to surrender. You could really get hurt, put yourself in danger, or something could come out bad, or something bad can happen. But we have to remember that's the brain. And the brain is not nice to us. The brain is what tells us everything we could do wrong and how we should quit and how we should go the other way and how we should do this, that, and the other. So it's like, it's okay to take it to that edge, to surrender.
It's okay to go there. And within your readings, how do you find yourself surrendering most often?
Before the reading, I have to give myself a quick, kick in the butt and say, this is not about you. Let go. Just let it be. Don't be afraid. I think my hardest thing was don't be afraid of the no's. Through a lot of practice and a lot of teachings and a lot of experience, I have learned to accept the no's and say thank you for that. And then go back and go to the spirit world and say, hey, listen, I'm surrendering to this no. So if it's really not a no and it's a yes, or it's an I don't know, help me to unpack this. I'm letting go and letting you take the wheel,
Yes.
and taking a chance with it maybe giving me more evidence and being a no again, or getting the evidence and being a yes. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot. I understand.
Yes. That's a pretty big full circle. If that was the number one thing you were afraid of, the no's, and now you're like, just sit back with it. Just, it's okay. I know that within my work, sometimes if I hear a no, I go, great. And I kind of go, let me look at that again. And I go, because, I do more psychic work, so I can do that. You couldn't do that in a mediumship reading. You really couldn't. I go, let me look at it again. And so there's a part of me that goes, okay, maybe I should surrender a little bit more, but I kind of want to investigate it. I go, okay, thank you for clarifying. All right, well, hold on a second. but yeah, you're just like, hey, okay, just sit with it. Don't overthink it. I think, yeah, that's really powerful to do. And it means everything in mediumship because you got it. Like it came through you. You're a channel. It came through you and you just, that it's okay.
And that's the biggest piece is that I'm a channel. I'm the one who is delivering the information from the spirit world. I'm the voice of the voiceless, whether it's the animals or the people. That's it. And I think that's the biggest piece. I'm sorry if you can hear the water in the background and the little cursing in the background. I have a puppy and I don't know what he just did. And that was my 16-year-old. So he must have gotten something of hers because she's washing something now. So I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. Things happen. I had like a jackhammer or something going right before we started. It's just however it goes, right? It's endearing, honestly.
It's like, oh.
It's endearing. It is, you know, we all have families. We all are just, we're here. You know what I mean? It's great. I love it. It's fine. Let's see. Someone actually asked about that. So going into questions, someone asked about how many cats and dogs do you currently have?
I have.
This is good.
Sit down. Get ready. I have 6 cats, all rescues.
Aww.
Yep. My oldest 2 are 10, and my youngest one is going to be 1 soon. My youngest one was not expected. She was found in a vending machine at Walmart. Somebody had put her in there. We got the phone call.
What?
Yes. Called the fire department, got her out. I was like, bring her right to my house. Don't stop, go. Just bring her right to the house, you know. So, you know, all of my animals are rescues where, you know, they've come to us at points where we didn't expect. And then I have 2 dogs. We just got the puppy, a Bernedoodle rescue. That was not expected. I was like, oh, let me scroll through Facebook. I'm like, oh, look at that. That's really cute. Let me ask the kids. And the kids are all like, yeah. I'm like, okay. In less than like 12 hours, I had a puppy in my house. I'm like, who gets approved in like less than 12 hours for a dog? I'm like, I do. So that's what we have right now.
So did your other dog need a friend? Yeah.
You know, and that's the funny thing is that my other dog was not dog friendly. She was very much like aggressive towards other dogs. So I said, listen, we're going to try this rescue. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So we'd never put an animal in danger. Kittens, I could bring in 50 kittens for her. She's like a pity mix. She mothers the kittens. She babies them. She takes care of them, like all that stuff. And we call him Yeti. We brought Yeti in, and it was like, she was like, thank you. It was just such a weird, like, emotional experience because I didn't realize losing our older Bernese Mountain Dog 2 years ago. I didn't realize the hole in her heart it had left. You know, being an animal communicator, I can't really connect with my babies because I'm so connected, so, you know, attached to them. I didn't realize that. And now it's like I didn't realize how she wasn't as lit up as she should be. And now it's like she's a puppy again and she's nutty again. And like, and it was like, it was meant to be. Like they're trashing my house together, you know? So it's just like
just knocking things over and destroying things. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. No, but we learned so much about family and ourselves through just animals, because animals being our babies, you know, it's just mirrors of lessons. And now I need to look for that in my own life, right? I wasn't aware of that energy that I missed.
One of my, not to go on a tangent, but one of my cats, Karma, she was diagnosed with FIP, and FIP is deadly. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I got a divorce. I had to sell my dream house. I had to take the kids out. I had to move the animals. And now she's FIP. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, why is my life falling apart so much? And I was like, wait a minute. What are you doing? Like, why are you surrendering to her having FIP and not being able to be a survivor? So I went and I found an FIP survivors group. I found medication that's not approved, but I found it. And she is in remission right now. And she has no signs of FIP after 84 days of treatment.
Yeah, it's amazing some of the options that are out there now, but it's considered unconventional. And I mean, yeah, that's amazing that you did that for her. I don't know all the bits and pieces that go into that, but you didn't accept it.
No, I didn't accept it. I couldn't lose her. And I wouldn't let her suffer either. So I want everyone to know who's watching, like, I would never let my animals suffer if they were suffering. Right. But it was like, I knew she wanted to fight. And there's nothing that I mean, I would get a 3rd and 4th job for them if I had to fight the fight. Like I adopt animals not for a season. I adopt them for a lifetime. I rescue them for a lifetime. Whatever I have to do, if I have to sell jewelry, I have to sell whatever it is, I will do it for my animals. And I knew that she had the fight in her. And it's like, it's so funny because now she's back. Like, she's my Karma again. You know, like, she's my baby. She's healthy. She's getting into trouble. She's stealing things from people, and she's doing her thing. She's doing what she does. And I'm like, I'm blessed, it's 84 days of treatment, 84 days of remission. And now once her blood work comes back in July, then she'll be considered healed if that works out, which I have faith it will.
Yeah, I'm putting out a prayer for that. I love the way you put it. She's being herself. She's stealing things from people. It's great. It really is.
She definitely is. She just so like, even my son was sitting on the couch. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, Karma's on the side. And she was like, boop, boop, boop. But he didn't know that she was there. So she like tapped him in the butt while he was like sitting on the couch. And he was like, what is that?
Hey.
She's like, I'm right down here. Boop, boop, boop.
Let's go, right? I'll mess with you. That's great. I love animals too. So it's amazing. Talk about, committing to a decision. That was kind of the theme a little bit that came in before. So when you are committed, my goodness, you go above and beyond. I could sense that in you, but just through the stories, just with all the animals you've rescued, and you're just like, nope, we're going to do this. Nope, we're going to do this. I guess I'll have to do this if I have to. We're going to do this.
Yeah. I mean, there's no giving up. There's no giving up. And again, unless there was any pain, unless there was any suffering, I would never let them go through that. But I'm not the one who's going to ever give up on them. They've come to me because someone or something has given up on them. They're not coming to me because, they've come from a lavish life,
Yeah. You're there for them all the way, all the way. I give you kudos. I give you so much kudos in that. That takes a very big heart. I'm going to say it as much as I can. Big heart.
I also make them suffer though, because I'm like, come here, give me kisses and hugs, like I'm like very affectionate, like to people, but animals, I'm like, oh, let me just kiss it.
Give me this love.
Give me this love.
It's so good though. It's so good. Like, I'm obsessed with my babies. It's so good. Another question. Someone's asking, I was about to ask about the pain, if they still feel it. Hold on a second. Yeah. The pain is racing. What's the context of this? Let's see. We'll figure it out. We'll bounce around if we have to. I'm not sure. Aspen, if you're still out there, I love you so much. Let me know. You're probably typing as we were talking. And usually I know what you're talking about. I think, okay, she went and she said something else. When being the voice for the voiceless for a person who has passed, how would you go about shining a light into this world to one who may not be familiar with it?
That's a great question. So may not be familiar with it is different than not believing. So if I'm going to shine a light on somebody who may not be familiar with it, what I'm going to do is ask their loved one to give me evidence that will shine the light for them. So it's like you be the delivery of the light in order to ignite their soul so that their soul can touch yours. And let me be the voice of that. Because I personally am not the person to do that. It's your loved one on the other side. So I give them everything. And I say, use all my faculties. I don't mind, in a safe way. Use anything that you can from me, of my knowledge that's in my index packet, of index cards, of all the stuff that I have, go through it and be like, oh, look at that. I'm an open book. Use my stuff in order to help your loved one who's here, their soul ignite in that area.
Yeah, you're that beautifully put. You're just, however someone needs something, you're going to be there, and you don't know what's coming. I think a lot of times that we go, okay, how can I do this because I want to help you, but you're just saying, hey, I'm just here. I'm out of it, but use me as you will.
Exactly.
She was talking about, the prior question. She's like, yeah, I was doing a topic about something else. And she said, ha, ha, ha. Someone is asking as well, wow, can you read all the animals when you go to the shelter?
Oh, okay. So I used to volunteer at the local animal shelter until it got political. And then I was like, I'm out, because I have a voice. I have my human self that will tear people apart. Then I have my spiritual self who's trying to be like, calm. Before I go into a shelter, I completely pull my aura in and pull everything in and shut everything down. And the reason why I do that is because emotions in the shelter are extremely high. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of tragedy. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of sadness. There's just so much there. So I cannot go into a shelter with being open in any way. I also am part of a rescue farm. And when I go to the rescue farm, I absolutely respect the animals. They are in charge. If they want to share with me, I'm open to receive. If they do not, I do not receive. It's 100% on them. And when we're receiving a rescue at that moment, if I'm there for the transport and the receiving portion of it, in that part, I am not an animal communicator. I'm a person. Completely shut down and receive the animal in that way because they're coming from trauma. And I'm very good at picking up everybody's trauma, taking it from them and making it mine. To make them feel better, I'll hold on to it. So I don't want to do that because then you become sick.
You can't always be on,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's different roles you have to play.
Mm-hmm. There really is. And that it's really important that's where I feel that training and mentoring and education in our work is so, so, so important. It really is. And I don't think people realize how much we have to go through and experience and learn and be educated to make sure that not only are we protecting the people that are receiving readings and the animals that are reconnecting, but protect ourselves also. And not protect, from what people think are only like demons and, all that negative stuff. Don't protect ourselves from just the human emotions.
Yes. We're sharing so much energy all the time. And when we're that sensitive and open, we're taking on too much if that's going on all the time. There's a reason why we're humans, not spirit. We're supposed to be humans. We're not supposed to be that hyper connected all the time. We can maybe be that way when we go back to the other side.
Exactly.
It'll fry our system. The body's not designed for that all the time.
It's not. And that's why they say, that's why you have to be very careful.
I agree. So there's another question. When sharing your light with somebody, what happens when fear takes over?
With fear from me, like my fear?
So they were referencing like sharing the light and helping somebody, like being called to like share a message or whatever, but all of a sudden fear comes over and it stops themselves. Like how to get past that.
So it's the fear I'm trying to understand. Is it the fear of the message that I'm receiving, like delivering the message, that I become fearful of how to deliver it?
I think so. She's referencing, I've been, there's a spirit that's been reaching out constantly, showing her a lot of signs that I should reach out and talk about this stuff. I believe that the person, the recipient would be open to. I feel her energy so much that they want to connect, but fear takes over for her.
Okay. So this is what I would do, because I never walk up to somebody and say, oh my gosh, did you lose a sibling? Because, and I hate to give this example, but this is the example I give everyone. If I walk up to someone and say, hey, I have your uncle here, and that uncle was abusive to them, I just opened a trauma that maybe they haven't healed from yet, that they've been avoiding, so I never walk up to somebody. But what I do is I say to the spirit world, you have a message you want me to receive. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know if they're open or not. So I need you to bring that person to me and have them ask me to open up and to see if there's anything there for them. And then I just let go and surrender, that beautiful word, and say, now I know when the time is right for that individual to receive the information, and there's no fear between myself and or the person receiving, then that will all be opened up. Thank you for the information, spirit world. I will hold on to it, but I will not deliver it until I know that they are ready to receive.
Yes, I love that. I love putting out the intention of, hey, if it's supposed to happen, it will take care of itself.
Exactly.
However it goes, I love that. Michael Christopher is saying, loved this conversation, and popping in to say hi. So thank you with that. Yeah, hey, it's always nice to receive some love. Okay, I want to dive into where people can find you and like what classes you have going on right now, or if you have any events coming up.
Oh, yeah. So they could find me at natalieluciamedium.com. And I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I am on TikTok and you have no idea what I'm doing. So you will get nothing from TikTok from me unless all of a sudden I get like 1,000 viewers and I can do live readings. That's the only thing that will ever happen. But otherwise, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's the honest truth.
I'm sure there's plenty that people receive from you. They will get something from you.
Pretty much, I don't even, but I do next week have a beginner's animal communication that's available, a workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop. I have to be very straightforward with people listening that I am not a teacher that just says blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen, this is what I'm going to expose you to, and now you're going to do it. And I'm going to expose you to this, and now you're going to do it. So it's more about the experience than it is about me lecturing. So you have to be willing to participate in being a part of it and shock yourself going, how did that happen? Don't worry about how, just know it did, So I have an animal communication workshop coming up. There's 2 slots for it because I have a lot of people that are like in India and Australia and things like that. So there's 2 sections of that. Summer camp is coming up in August. I'll be doing a DEM with my dear friend Cindy Keza. So we'll be doing a DEM together in August. And there's going to be another DEM in August. There'll be a whole bunch of stuff I'm like, oh my gosh, what's everything that's going on? I can't even think right now. But there's a lot of stuff like on my Instagram and on my Facebook. You can see everything that's going on.
There's a lot of wonderful stuff going on, classes, demonstrations. August sounds very busy and very amazing. Is that one of your favorite ways to work, demonstrating?
I love demonstrating. I love it. And I love doing it with someone. And people don't realize it. I love doing, like when Cindy and I do it together, we're very different the way we read and the way we work. But energetically, there's just something about having someone there to hold the energy up for you and have someone that's truly happy for your experience and what you're doing, and then to be able to do the same. There's something about having that just feels so good. I like doing DEMs by myself. I do DEMs alone. But there's just something about when you do it with a friend that does the same thing but is very different from you. It's exciting. It's really exciting. And I think for the audience too, it's exciting.
Yeah. A natural affinity, and it just feels so great.
And I think it's funny, like how different we are. Like, mediums should never be cookie cutter. We should never sound the same or look the same or behave the same, or, we should find who we are as a medium. And I think that's when people get to see and experience different mediums on the same platform. I think it's a beautiful thing.
It's really needed. Yes, because I think certain things, certain fundamentals should be kind of shared so someone can go, not because they have to be, you know what I mean? Like someone can go, oh, that's really cool. Like that is somewhat persistent in other people. Good to think about. Right. But it should never be like a cookie cutter, or you should never have pressure just because someone thinks you should be a certain way, especially in this work. How would you say I'm going to rephrase that. What would you say some of your signatures of being a medium are?
Oh, my signatures of being a medium. I don't know.
I'd have to think about it too.
Signatures of being a medium. You know what? I think it's the funniest thing is that when people don't know me and I start talking, they're like, oh, she's a New Yorker. And I think one of the things that I tell people that when you come to me for a reading or when you receive a reading from me, I'm not rainbows and butterflies. And I think my signature is, let me get straight to the point and give you exactly what you need to hear. My signature is, I do it with love, but I do it with, this is what it is, so that So I think that I'm straightforward, no nonsense, lots of love, but it's not going to be, you know, oh, honey, that dress looks great on you. Like, oh, honey, you need to return it and get a better one. Like that's just you know.
Oh, honey. Do you find yourself gravitating to helping certain types of spirit connections happen, or do you find yourself like gravitating to certain types of like symbols within your work?
I try not to hang on to symbols.
Yeah,
And the reason why I try not to hang on to symbols is because things change all the time.
I
And the
do.
spirit world is so intelligent. So where, a red balloon one day for me may mean love, the next day for me may mean anger. So
Right.
if it's love and I stick to that and then the balloon pops, I'm going to think somebody's lost their love, and that's not fair because they didn't. Maybe they lost their anger. So I try not to hang on to anything, but I'm always open. If I receive something from the spirit world, whether it's a symbol or a sign or something like that, that I don't understand, after my readings, I say, okay, now teach me. What did
Yeah.
I miss? What do I need to know?
Absolutely. The review now teach me. I
Mhm.
don't really like symbols that much either, because I 100% prescribe to what you just said. I noticed though that the spirit world loves to let me know when someone's Irish. Like they love to let me know. They love to, and I used to fight symbols a lot. I'm like, there's no way I could, like I just talked to someone like with this, like I'm like I would ignore symbols
Right.
actually, and I'd get myself in trouble because I'm like, there's no way that this person likes to cook like muffins, like, and they're blueberry as well. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like just sometimes really obvious symbols and sometimes not obvious symbols. But yeah, there's like I would say 3 that I just get always hit over the head with. I'm just like, "Really? You want me to say something? Fine." And yeah.
I
So,
think I think what gets me is in Dems, there's always a theme. And sometimes I'm like, does why does the theme have to be a mother whose name is Gail? Why? Why do I have 3 Gails that are moms here right now? Like I'm like, why are
I
you doing that to me?
I've never gotten a Gale before, so yeah, why? That's amazing. You've gotten multiple Gales? Is
Like,
that a thing?
yeah, like they'll be like, and I'll have a dad who's Chris, who's had a heart attack, and then like I'll have a bunch of people, and then I'll have the specific person like, thank you so much. I'll go to the next person with completely different evidence, and I'm like, why am I hearing Chris' dad again? And of course, like at first, I'm like, I want to deny it because I just had it. I don't want to repeat this evidence again. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they'll be like, oh yeah, no, my dad's name is Chris also, and he had a heart attack also. I'm like, Spirit World, can we please change the names up or something, please? Like just do something for me, please.
They're, they're like, Natalie, we're literally trying to help you. We're making this as easy as possible for you, and you hate it.
Either that or they're laughing in the spirit world going, let's drive her crazy and have a beer while we're at it. Let's all have fun. How many Chris's are here? How many of you are dads? How many of you had heart attacks? Let's all get together.
It's all happening at once. Yeah, that one's hard to navigate, if you're really really open, it's it's going to be easier, but that one would be harder to navigate if it just kept happening. But it's hilarious. I love when stuff like that pushes you. Someone's asking, are there any openings still in the animal communication class she's
Yes,
interested in
there
signing
is.
up?
There absolutely is. If you go
Cool.
to my Instagram, it's on my pin post, but it's also, you could always email me. I could send you the information, the links. Absolutely.
Perfect. Reach out to her, Lily. She's fantastic. What I always do, it's true. What I like to do always is kind of give the guest the last word, whether it's something that's important to them, an inspiration. Some people like pull a card. Some people go, "Oh, I was thinking this today," like, or
Mhm,
you know, um, whatever compels you,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Whatever, anything. What would you like to share before we part?
Before we part, I'd like to share that we should stop being so hard on one another and just say to yourself, I'm going to be better tomorrow than I was today. That's it. Just be better tomorrow than you are today.
I love that. Yes. It's as simple as that.
As simple as that. We have to stop complicating things. We have to stop complicating things.
Do you feel with that it is so easy to grow every day? Do you feel that?
If we allow ourselves to. I do. I feel like we can grow every day. But what happens is that we do 10 great things today, 3 not so great things, and tomorrow we get stuck on the 3 not so great things. And we have to stop doing that. We have to focus on the accomplishments that we've had and the good that we've done. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to hurt people. We're going to hurt ourselves. Things are going to happen. It's life. But we have to stop holding on to the negative and focus on the positive. And there's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh my gosh, I did this. We're so shy to be like, oh, I can't say that. I can't be proud of myself because then it means that I'm like egotistical. Not true. Not true. Just strive to be better tomorrow than you were today. And just go with gratitude each step of the way.
With that said, may we all be committed to being better than we were tomorrow. Oh my gosh, my brain's all mixed up. Better than we. You say it for me, Natalie.
Better tomorrow than we are today.
I like it better coming from you too. So with the beautiful wisdom of Natalie, thank you so much for being here. I sincerely enjoyed our conversation, and I know other people did. And so with that, I'm wishing everyone a wonderful rest of their Wednesday. We will be back for the Psychic Hour on Friday, everybody, with the reading show. Again, thank you so much to our guest, Natalie, and everybody. Thank you. Everybody, please go with love, luck, light, love, and don't forget to live. See you on Friday. Bye, everybody.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.